Hi everyone, welcome to the Xander Effect. I'm your host, Xander Dames. And for the Xander Effect, we're making a couple of changes here. Instead of reporting the day's events, we're going to be reporting on what's on the top stories that have been happening this week. Starting with what's going on with Brittany Spears right now. That's been talk that's been going on not just this week, but for the past couple of weeks, ever since the issues with her conservatorship have been arising since her father became ill, and he was actually the one that took charge of the conservatorship for Britney. Right now, what's happening is that there has been a movement called the Free Britney movement, and that is that basically Britney Spears wants to kind of rearrange her current rules, I guess, in the conservatorship. But to be honest with you, in her state of mind, emotional, mental, and everything, I think that, in my personal opinion, I don't believe that she should be given too much leeway, seeing as we've all seen what has happened to her instability in the past, what with, her shaving her head and her attacking paparazzi with an umbrella. She's not stable. She's not a very stable person, unfortunately. And the fact of the matter that she's got people that are rooting for her to be more free, I honestly don't think it's the best idea. Not that I'm saying that she couldn't handle it, but she needs that type of supervision in her life. And if a judge basically says that they don't agree with her being completely free, or with the rules of her conservatorship being less, there has to be a reason behind it. There has to be a psychological reason behind it. And at this point, it just doesn't seem that it's feasible for her to, have that kind of freedom, because for all we know, she can be talking out of emotion. Her mental stability may not be all there right now, seeing as they actually had to put her back in a mental facility again. And right now, her residency in Las Vegas is up in the air. It's not completely off, but it's being postponed indefinitely. So there are a lot of issues going on right now with her that many people close to her may see as, it's a good idea for her to still continue on in the same conservatorship that she's been on, rather than take some of it away and give her more power. So for all we know, it could be a lot worse than it really is. And in other news, I was watching Smallville the other day, and man, Allison Mack, she played Chloe Sullivan in the popular TV series back in when it used to be called the WB Network. It's tragic to see a beautiful young woman like Allison Mack go from where she was starting to grow in that show and beyond, to now being indicted, now being charged with racketeering conspiracy, including extortion, racketeering, and forced labor in a sex cult, nonetheless. She was involved in a cult called Nexium, and unfortunately she's facing up to 40 years in prison for the crimes that she committed in basically taking charge of sex slaves. This is a very tragic turn of events for this young woman, and it's just so unfortunate that after, with everything that's going on in Hollywood with the Me Too movement and women empowerment and everything, to have a young woman like this actually take females as sex slaves. And you know, for a gentleman, that it's just sad. It's very, very incredibly sad to hear what's happened to her. This is just a tragic turn of events for this young woman. The trial, well, she is set to be sentenced, I think, or convicted on September 11th of this year. And who knows what the future holds for this young lady. She's according to some news sources, she is going to testify against the leader of this cult. He's facing a lot more charges than she is, actually, involving having sex with minors as well. Because in this sex cult, there were women that were different age ranges, but they were all on the young side. And Allison Mack was actually his co-conspirator in this cult, and it even included some actresses as well that were forced to have sex with this cult leader, and Allison was the one that basically forced them to have sex with him. And it's a tragic thing. She has taken responsibility. She pled not guilty. Now she's pleading guilty to these charges, and who knows what's going to happen to the future of this young woman. I guess we're going to go ahead and see as the months progress and find out what happens next. In other news, Robert Pattinson is right now in negotiations with Warner Brothers to become the next Batman. The Twilight star is trading in his fangs for a mask and cape and bat wings. Robert Pattinson is still in negotiations. They don't know whether or not he's going to be the next Batman, but from what certain news sources and outlets suggest, it seems that he is very much closer rather than further on closing this deal. And to be honest with you, for some Batman fans, I'm a Batman fan, I'm a DC fan, I'm also an MCU fan. I don't know what DC's thinking. So far, their track record with some of their movies has not been the best in the world right now. Batman vs. Superman didn't go well with a lot of the fans, neither did Justice League. So far, the only two movies that have actually shined have been Aquaman and Wonder Woman. But now with this turn of events with Robert Pattinson, I mean, I was already having an issue with Ben Affleck being Batman and Bruce Wayne, but he actually did a pretty good job. He didn't do such a bad job that many people thought he would do, but Robert Pattinson, come on. I can't imagine this guy being Bruce Wayne or Batman for that matter. The guy, first of all, he's too skinny. He has to really bulk up for this role. And secondly, he doesn't have the face. I can't see him being Bruce Wayne. I really, really can't. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, for all of you that are watching, if you have your own opinions of it, please feel free to comment on the video and feel free to share maybe your top 5 possible actors to play the next Batman or Bruce Wayne for the next Batman movie. If you don't think Robert Pattinson is the best choice, or if you think maybe Ben Affleck, obviously Christian Bale, would be amazing to come back, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. We all know that. But Robert Pattinson, I mean, that to me is just, I just don't see it. I can't see it, and I'm still having issues coming to terms with it if he decides to go ahead and sign on the dotted line to become the next Batman. In sports, tragedy has stirred the wrestling world as the young 39-year-old Ashley Massaro passed away this week of unknown reasons. Nobody really knows why this young woman passed away. She was a former WWE diva, former TNA knockout, former Playboy Playmate, and she even dated one of the wrestlers, Matt Hardy, for a time in the WWE. She had a lot of success in TNA, and it's tragic to hear this news. that such a young woman passed away at the age of 39, no less. That's a very young age. Nobody really knows why it happened. They just found her and she was unresponsive, and unfortunately she didn't wake up. This is a very tragic trend because, as we all know, China Joni Laurer also passed away. She passed away of an overdose. Some news sources suggest. And it's just I honestly don't know what's going on with these young women. She had a lot of potential. Now with AEW coming out, possibilities were that she might have gone to All Elite Wrestling. But now I guess we'll never know. And my heart goes out to the fans, to the family of Ashley Massaro. It's tragic to hear the passing of that young woman. In other wrestling health news, Ric Flair, another one that's been very much in and out of the hospital lately. He was admitted on Friday for a medical emergency. No one really knows why. There haven't been any news sources explaining as to what the medical emergency was, but they were set to perform surgery on him, and they had to postpone it due to complications. Now, what a lot of sources are saying at this point is that the Nature Boy will pull through after they're postponing the surgery from Monday, and he is predicted to pull through from this after this surgery, but it's still too early to tell. We hope that Ric Flair makes it through, makes another miracle recovery, and stops giving us these close calls. Nature Boy, hope you get better, buddy. And in NBA news, the Western and Eastern Conference Finals are getting really crazy right now. Golden State, however, not so crazy. They're pretty much leading the series 3-0 against the Portland Trailblazers after they beat Portland 110-99 this past Saturday. Now, everybody pretty much they all pick Golden State to be the favorites. Obviously, with Steph Curry and with Kevin Durant at the helm of this team, they're predicted to go all the way, obviously. But there's still one more game to go, and that game will be decided Monday for Game 4. And in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's the Milwaukee Bucks. They lead the series 2-0 against the Toronto Raptors. They still have a couple of games left until there's a definitive winner in this one, but obviously right now the hands-on favorite are the Bucks to go up against Golden State in the finals. So we'll go ahead and see that coming later on. In video game news, finally, Red Dead Redemption is off the beta and officially online. However, man, there are still a lot of glitches that Rockstar needs to fix in this game. I started playing a couple of them, and first, one of the glitches they need to fix is the XP. Rockstar, I don't remember it being this difficult to rank up in GTA, but my God, it's so difficult to rank up in Red Dead Redemption. Like, you have to go hunting and do these tedious things that, if you go hunting, you get 15 points for shooting an alligator. You get 10 points for shooting a bison. You get 5 points for shooting any small animal or bird that you see flying around. But it's just such a long process. So you gotta keep doing this over and over again. And yes, you make money off of it. But come on, Rockstar, give us a double XP weekend along with this new update that you got going on, rather than doing this other stuff, or come up with a mission that offers 500 XP. And that's another thing too, the missions. Some of these missions you get to see how much XP you get and how much money you get, and some of them you don't. I mean, that's another glitch that Rockstar needs to fix, along with also the camp. when you set up camp, usually in the game, it tells you, okay, you go ahead and pay $5 or $7 or rather for a large camp and $2 for a smaller camp. When you do this, in some sessions, the camp doesn't even appear. The camp is nowhere to be found. I don't know if some other players have been dealing with. I've been dealing with this situation actually, where the camp doesn't appear at all. And granted, they don't take the money out of the cash that you have, but still, like, you want to have a camp ready to go so that way you could go to it to go ahead and collect, ammunition, whatever. And it's not there. So Rockstar's got to fix that. They also have to fix another issue. When you go hunting, like, there's been connection issues with Rockstar since God knows when. They still have them on GTA as well. But in Red Dead Redemption, when you're in the middle of hunting and suddenly, you have all your stock, you have your skins, you have your carcasses on your horse, and you're ready to go ahead and send it to the butcher and get money for it, you get disconnected. And when you come back, everything you just collected is gone. Rockstar, you need to fix that, because it's already tedious work having to go ahead and do this, but losing everything, after you worked hard to go ahead and go hunting after them, and come on, you got to give us a break here. We're some of us have been playing this game since day one. Yeah, granted, some of us left for months because it got boring, but you don't want your audience to leave again because you're not giving their players a little bit more, especially the players that have been playing since day one. You got to give us a break here. The only good thing about what's going on with Rockstar is the griefing mode, and that is that many players can actually see other players that are in the red that are attacking other players for whatever reason. There's that. There's good warning signs. Another thing is that you can't see other players on the map, and that pretty much avoids any trolling from other players, So in other words, if a player is bullying me or coming after me or anything like that, I can go to another town and he doesn't know where I went. Or I can go a certain distance from this player and they don't know where I'm at. So that's another pretty cool part of Red Dead Redemption. And the other thing too, the other really cool part is that when you're in a posse, you actually get to go into a defensive mode. Now, this mode, when you're in the posse, prevents other players from locking onto you, from auto-locking onto you and bullying you and shooting you. And they can't even shoot you, even if you're at close range. They still can't even shoot you. They could nick you and damage you a little bit, but it also gives you more health and more armor, so that way they don't kill you that quickly. So that's a really cool option to have in Red Dead Redemption. And some of the new missions that they have are also pretty cool too, and also the stranger missions that are scattered all throughout the map. That's pretty dope. I like it. I gotta admit that little by little, Rockstar is starting to actually pay more attention to the game they kind of left behind, which is Red Dead Redemption 2, and they're starting to actually make it better. According to Rockstar, they also have more updates are coming up during the final week of this month. There's supposed to be another update coming up. They haven't really said what it is exactly, but they said there is another update, and there are more updates in the coming months. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully they fix a lot of bugs in the system, because there still are a lot of bugs. The new poker feature is also really cool. I love playing poker on that game. But they did say in their update release, that they would also have blackjack. Now, when I went to go check for the blackjack tables, there's no blackjack to be found yet. So I don't know if they meant that it was going to be a part of this update or the next update. But from what I gathered from the notes that I read, it was supposed to be in this update. Who knows? Maybe they're having issues with that glitch as well. I don't know. But a lot of good stuff coming up for Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. In other video game news, the Division 2 raids are out now. Now, according to some sources on the internet, it seems that the raids have become very difficult for a lot of teams, mainly because apparently they can't choose their own teams. They can't gather their own teams, so what a lot of players have been doing is they've been getting together with other people to kind of create a team. Now, this is cool, but it also kind of makes it more difficult, because you don't have the I guess you don't have that communication, I guess, between other team members. I don't know. But what's going on now is that Ubisoft has listened to their players, so they are creating a matchmaking feature that's going to be coming up in another update for The Division 2. So we'll see how the raids continue on with this. I hope that Ubisoft doesn't make it too hard, because, come on, we want to go ahead and enjoy what we're doing rather than want to throw our controller out the window along with our Xbox. In other video gaming news, can you believe it that Minecraft is the top #1 selling game of all time? Who knew? This video game that came out in 2011 has sold 176 million copies of this game. And this game is it's a sandbox game created by Swedish game developer Marcus Persson. And all it is just a game where you create blocks, I guess, and just pretty much it's a game to create things out of. But 176 million copies? It's the most selling game worldwide, above everything else, above GTA, above The Division, Rainbow Six, everything. It's of all time. Who would have known? Who would have thought that this game would be so addicting that players just keep on buying it? That's video games for you, and that is the Xander Effect for you. These are the headlines of this week, in case you haven't heard them. I hope you have enjoyed watching this. I've enjoyed reporting on it. And if you have any comments, go ahead and comment below. If you have any top 10 or top 5 requests that you want to go ahead and put out there, feel free to do so. I'm here to listen. You're here to watch. I'll see you next week, everyone, on the Xander Effect.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching the Xander Effect. Now, if you like this video or missed one of my other videos, feel free to subscribe, and you can also go ahead and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for updates and occasional breaking news.